All right, welcome everybody. So welcome to the Blind Critiques panel. And if you haven't seen Blind Critiques, this is something that Matt and I started on our weekly TV show, The Grid. And if you're like, what's The Grid? It's a weekly TV show.
We put blindfolds on.
We put blindfolds on and try to figure what we look like. So every week on Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we go live and we talk about photography. Well, we started this thing called Blind Critiques a number of months back, and it just kind of really took off. The idea behind a blind critique is that you submit your work, but we're not going to use your name. We're not going to go, okay, Bob Johnson, your stuff stinks. So we'll just say, your stuff stinks and only you will know. So
unless you submit with a watermark on it, and then everybody knows your stuff
Yeah, a lot of
stinks.
people still we say, don't put your watermark on, they'll put their name, 55-point type. So that's what the blind critiques are. I think blind critiques are an incredible way to learn. So Matt and I do workshops. You do workshops. Trey, workshops?
On occasion.
On occasion. So in our workshops, the workshops we normally do, like Matt and I do these landscape and travel photography ones, there's usually about 17 to 30 students, somewhere in there. And so we always do class critiques where we don't ask anybody's name, we just bring the images up. The most amazing thing happens to them, and we will read in the evaluation forms at the end of a workshop like that, how many people say the most important thing, learning thing was the critiques. Because once you see the same problem over and over and over again, the instructors can stop talking because the students will go, stuff crap, that has to be removed, that's bad, bad light. No.
And I was going to jump in and say, and it usually, what we find out, because you're only going to get a handful of photos reviewed at the end of that critique, but what we find out is that it's them watching the critiques of everybody else, and that's what really kind of hits home for them. And because if you think you do critiques for an hour, your photos get critiqued for 5 or 10 minutes, but at the end of that hour, you got to watch so many other photos get critiqued, and that's what I always hear, is that it was as valuable of a learning experience for them to watch other people's photos get critiqued as it was theirs.
Right, because we all make the same mistakes again and again. I'm sorry, what I'm doing right here behind the scenes is something I didn't realize, and that's why I turned off the screen up there, because the AV team is probably freaking out. They're like, what happened? I'm hiding people's names. Yeah. So I didn't realize when I put some of these together that I had some names out there, and we're designed to protect the innocent. While we're doing this, Matt is going to take a moment, though, and introduce our panel.
I'm going to take a moment and introduce our panel. You like how I just jumped in there with that?
Right off the top of your head, man.
I know.
Brilliant.
So all the way over here on the far right, which would be your left-hand side, we have Trey Ratcliffe. Everybody welcome Trey.
Hello.
Trey.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Trey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, are we just trying to waste time? Do people really want to hear about me?
That's exactly what we're trying to do, Trey.
Well, good. No one can waste time like me. Thank you guys for coming, very much for coming. I'm Trey. I'm a landscape photographer. I like all kinds of photos, though. I like black and white. Whenever I see black and white photos, I think, oh, I should do more black and white. Whenever I see portrait photos, or when I see what Jeremy does, I think, oh, I should do more portrait. But when you're a photographer, you love all kinds of photography, and that's definitely me. And I don't know. I'm just a guy that takes photos. I really love it. I love the interaction with everybody. I love sharing, and I don't know. I guess that's sort of a little summary about me.
All right. And then right next to Trey, we have photographer Jeremy Cowart.
There, he's over there.
Right over here.
Thank you.
Everybody welcome Jeremy.
My name is Jeremy.
I'm a photographer.
I'm a photographer. How about that? I currently live in LA. I have a wife and 2 kids, 2 amazing kids. I shoot a lot of celebrity work. I do a lot of entertainment in general. I like to sum it up as environmental portraiture. And I do a lot of humanitarian work overseas, Haiti, Africa, all around the world. And I have a nonprofit called Help Portrait, where we give pictures to people in need every holiday season. So thank you. That's my story.
Next to Jeremy, we have Scott Kelby, president of the NAPP.
Thank you. Basically, I'm a love machine.
He is.
And I think you guys have stalled long enough, but I will introduce to my left here The human trailer hitch. He's ambidextrous. He's multi-breasted. Mr. Matt Kloskowski.
Thank you. At least he didn't say, what's the other one you usually use?
The flatulent Matt Kloskowski.
Nope.
No reason why.
No,
it just works, though. All right, I think we stalled long enough. Thank you for doing that. Totally my mistake there, but I think we're in good shape now, and I can turn on the mirroring that freaked everybody in the back. The video team.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and that's a good resolution. I think 640 by 480 is coming back. It's making a comeback.
Our watches are going to be bigger than us.
All right, so here's how this works. We're going to open up a series of images. The panel is going to give their thoughts on them. And there's two things that this is. Number one is there's no sense in us giving what I call Flickr responses. Because you ever post a photo on Flickr, you'll never find anybody say anything bad. You can say, I dropped my camera and it hit the ground and it accidentally fired this shot of my shoe. People are like, brilliant, amazing, you have a gift. So I always say Flickr's
literally why I left Flickr.
I say Flickr's where you go when you need a hug. If you're ever feeling bad about your photography and you're thinking, man, I'm not getting it done, go to Flickr and you will have a jolt of love like you have never seen. Okay, I think we're fixed now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to be honest. And honest a lot of times sounds mean, but we're not trying to be mean. We're just trying to tell you like it is. Now, I will say this. I've already seen a few of these images. I mean, I did them real quickly while I'm like taking the names and stuff. The thumbnails look really good. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking we're going to actually see some really good pictures. When we do this on the grid, Matt and I are always surprised at how bad the photos are. I mean, like, there are some that we can't critique because I wouldn't even know where to start. We look and go, you don't want to just tell somebody, look, sell your gear. But here's the thing. I almost want to do it, and here's why. Every great photographer living today can tell you a story where somebody told them to give up photography. And I figure that at some point I'll tell somebody to sell their gear, and they will become hugely famous. And they'll go, Scott Kelby told me to sell my gear,
Scott.
and look, I am now better than Andy Leibovitz. So, but we don't do that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through. I'm going to let the panel talk on it. We'll always start with Matt and kind of go around this way because Matt's always right. And we'll start with our very first one. And this is by a person called 1.jpg.
Huh.
Would you like to see another one?
The light trails kind of work, but everything, the people are blurry. I guess what I don't like the most about it is the people are blurry. What's the next one? Oh, very different.
It was a series. Boom, boom, boom.
All right. So let's go back to the first one. Cool light stuff. Always cool. Very, very neat to shoot. It's just, I guess blurry people don't do it for me.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
The light trails are cool. It's gimmicky, right? I mean, it's like a thing that a lot of people are doing now. But I've seen it done really, really well, right? You've seen that even though it's gimmicky, we've all seen it done well. The blurry people is distracting.
You know what it is? I think part of it is it looks like they just took a picture of a person twirling something and didn't have any lighting gear or anything like that. And so what happened just kind of happened naturally, which is the people were blurry.
I think between the two, though, this image at least has a lot more depth. Mm-hmm. It's got repetition. I think that's definitely out of the two. I would show this one versus the other one. And I always think photographers need to make that decision in a portfolio. Don't show two of the same pictures right next to each other. Pick one and stick with it. And for me, this is definitely the one that wins between the two.
You know what? This would actually, if you took out the kids, that's not a bad shot. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, just pretend the kids aren't there. It's actually quite a compelling shot. So
how exactly would you do that, Scott?
Well, if only there was a program. Yeah, I mean, I think I would just, while I was at the shoot, I would like ask the kids can you kids step over to the left a little bit? Hey, I just want to also mention, before we go on, is we are taking your comments here. So if you'd like to send us a comment, I've got the pad here taking your, so if you have any comments about what you're seeing here, or you want to say something like, hey, that's my shot, or, don't mention my name, please, I beg you. Anything you want to send us, use the app and send it to us, and they come right up here live as we're doing this. And somebody asked me this morning, oh, they haven't put the link up yet? Okay. See, I'm getting live feedback. So they put up a link here. It's funny. Somebody asked me this morning. They're like, "Well, where do we get the app?" And
Oh, yeah.
Eric Kuna backstage, who was our director, said, "You know what you should have said? There's this thing called Google. You type in, and it has results come right. It's amazing." Okay, so the last one.
It's better.
But you know what I would say about this? I mean, I kind of like the toning of it.
Yeah.
But it's taken in like the worst possible light. It's almost like you set your clock. When does really bad light happen? 3 o'clock? I'll be out there ready to shoot.
You can't turn something to black and white just because you shot it in bad light. You know? And that to me is like, you looked at this, okay, it was taken in bad light, so I'm going to convert it over to black and white.
Another thing is, if I can just open this in Photoshop, and I'm not sure I can. Oh, it's the bridge here. We'll just open it up and camera yuck. So let me take a look here. Also, the horizon line is like dead in the middle. Look, it's target practice. So it's not a very compelling composition either. So it's not a beautiful mountain in not beautiful light with your horizon line dead in the middle. So there's not a lot that's saying.
So these are the 3 images that photographer submitted.
Right.
I think I'm going to learn quickly that I'm going to play Paula Abdul. You can be Simon Cowell. Yeah. I'm going to be Paula Abdul.
I love this shot. It's magical.
Yo, dog, can I talk like this?
He'll be our yo dog.
Me and Jeremy, me and Trey will just say yo dog a lot.
Yeah. But I mean, I think, well, first of all, I think the photographer has to make some decisions. I mean, they're showcasing 2 very random images and then this. And this obviously is a much more quality image still over the hula hoops.
Agreed.
And I mean, it's the clouds are amazing. The composition could be moved around, but still, it's a nice, well-composed image. I mean, it's just much better. But I think that photographer, more importantly, needs to make a choice. Am I a landscape photographer, or am I a portrait photographer, or am I a lifestyle? The other shots to me look like just a parent who took a picture of their kids, whereas this looks like somebody who's at least saying, I want to be a landscape photographer, and I think that's an important decision to make.
Yeah, I'll say something about these, but before I give any critiques, let me put out there that I leave my old stuff out there from 5 and 6 years ago. It is just really, really bad. But I leave it out there because I want people to know how much progress you can make in 5 or 6 years if you're curious enough. So, and I'm not just saying that my old stuff is bad because I'm pretending to be humble or anything. It is really bad.
No, it's terrible. He's right.
there's some really, I mean, it is just, it's really embarrassing, and I feel like I want to take it down, but I leave it up because I want to give people hope. So I'm saying that before I say bad things about these, okay? So as for this landscape photo, it's just boring. Right? You don't even have to necessarily analyze it. If you just look at it and go, it's boring, you don't really have to say anything else about it. You don't have to explain why it's boring. Like if you see a beautiful woman, you don't have to explain why she's beautiful. She's just a beautiful one. It's just boring, and that's all there is to it. Just doesn't mean that all his photos are boring. The first photo of the girl twirling this is just an easy photo. There's very little skill that's required to take this. Maybe they had to be on a tripod and keep it open for 2 or 3 seconds. But otherwise, it's very easy. There's not that there's necessarily anything wrong with an easy photo. It's just obvious, and it's there, and there's nothing of interest. That one's slightly better, but like Jeremy said, whenever I see 2 photos of a very similar subject matter, I don't like it because I'm getting into their head a little bit too much, and I see how they navigated the scene and how they're struggling and how they move around, and I'm thinking too much about the photographer's process of moving around an environment when I see 2 very similar type topics.
That was nicely done. You may stay for the next image. All right. Number 2.
I just did his portfolio review, and I'm just going to say this guy's amazing.
Yep. Really good stuff.
In fact, I was so impressed, I tweeted about it.
Did you?
Give him a shout out.
Now, this was at the wine and cheese reception last night. This was displayed up there. It's beautiful light. It's an interesting composition. It's an interesting looking subject. She's interesting looking. The background's interesting looking. It's kind of moody and dark. And
The post-processing is really
the
well done.
post-processing is really nice. It's just a really nice shot.
The only critique I'd have if I really wanted to pick this thing apart is one of the things my actually web design professor taught me in college is about tangents. And I hate tangents because of what she told me. Basically, a tangent is when something touches, like points to the edge of the frame. Like the top of that boat in the top right corner is kind of like jamming right into that corner of that frame, and my eye just zips right up to that corner, and that's not where you want your eye to be. You want to be looking at the subject, and for some reason my eye just carries all the way up to that corner, and that's called a tangent. And so anytime I see tangents, I get really annoyed, but that's the only critique I would give to this photo.
Can I say something? You are not Paula Abdul. All right.
Paul Abdul can't talk
Any
about
comments, Trey?
tangents.
Anything?
Yeah, this guy is unbelievable. I think he's extremely skilled, and I'm curious. Occasionally, I see people submit their photos for critiques where they're just amazing photographers, and it makes me wonder, why did they even submit it for a critique? Don't they know that they are really, really good? And this kind of talent is so singular and so special. I wonder about the kind of person and the psyche that submitted it for a critique. Why don't they know that it's wonderful? Do they?
No,
why
maybe
do they
he wants to
care
get
what we have
better.
to say?
Maybe they know, and they're just like, I'd like to hear it from Trey.
Well, I know, but
Or
should
maybe they
need
want to
that
get
kind of-
better, too.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's part of it. I mean, some people are extremely talented. They might live in a small town. I did this portfolio review for this guy, and at the end of my critique, I said, you need to start believing in yourself because your work is incredible. But he had this, and he's probably in this room, and he had a very kind of quiet demeanor. I'm like, dude, you're really, really talented. Lighting, post-production, composition, everything. I said, you need to start believing in yourself because maybe when you go into these meetings, you know, people see that you're just not confident. I think there has to be confidence, not a cockiness. I absolutely hate when people are cocky, but a confidence in your work. And I think the work is there. Now he just needs to believe in himself. And maybe that's why somebody comes to critique, to get that affirmation.
Yeah. You know, I was reminded long ago, never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail,
If you succeed,
at least I did as I believed. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. Why?
Amen.
because it's
The greatest love of all
greatest
is
love.
inside of me. Okay, sorry.
Can we get an amen?
Trying to work that song title in there all week long. Okay. So I actually will make a couple of comments about this one. So I love the way he is lit. I do not like the way the laundry is lit. So take a look over here. Why is this lit? Why? Because your eye's drawn to the brightest things in the photo. What are the brightest things in the photo? Right here, and this clothespin. This would be a thing you could fix in post-processing really easy. Just bring that back. Lower the highlights, darken that a little bit. There's no reason that this clothespin is not happening. Now, you can argue this next one way or the other. I don't like these lines. I like the photo. I like everything happening down here. I don't like the wires coming out of his head. Now, but you could make case for that being kind of what you like. I think I would rather, if I was going to leave, I might take these lines out and maybe just leave this pole here and that one going that way. That doesn't really interfere, but it also, at the same time, he's looking up, they're looking up. You could make a case for it. There's no case for this. But there is case for this. Hey, can I just do this real quick? Let's just see what it's going to help. All right, I'm going to pull that.
I like the lines. I like the lines on the perspective.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You can make
the
a
lines are
that's
fine, Scott.
pretty large brush there. Now let's just darken this down a little bit. This is going to be a little bit of a hack job, right? But just darken that down. I heard that. He goes, you think? All right, but just darkening that down, it's too bright. And I think I would actually go, let me hit new. I would actually go over here a little bit and maybe just take this down just a little bit over there. And maybe that right there, too. And maybe even behind him right there.
Careful there.
And then I might have gone a little too far because I just did. But let's just take a look at just that. Let's hide the pins. All right, and it's done, you know, that's a 30-second retouch, but look. because he's the subject. All the light should be on him. And look at the nice fall off. So look where it is, and look how it falls off. It falls off beautifully on him. But then why am I seeing the clothespin and this other stuff lit? I think it's a stronger composition that way, but it's a good photo all the way around. I hate to say anything, the guy's so good.
Yeah, and I have to say that I would have, before I thought of the clothespin, if anything, I would have turned down the power in that backlight a little bit.
On the backlight, the kicker light?
The rim is a little strong compared to the light on the face. But still, keep in mind, y'all, we're getting really nitpicky. It's a nice image.
Hey, can I get one more nitpicky?
It's a strong portfolio shot.
I talked about Joel Grimes in my last class, and one of the things that Joel does really, really well is you see how there is a transition between the bright light on his face and the dark light? He goes and smooths out that transition. And I started doing that after watching his class on Kelby Training. Oh, did I just plug Kelby Training Online? I hate that. So anyway, that's just the worst. But he has a thing where he shows how to just smooth that out, and it really makes a difference. And you do that. You're big on the compositing stuff. And I think that they're all, you're nitpicking a really, really great photo and a very good photographer. But anyway, congratulations to whoever the photographer is. So yeah, he's quite good. I'm going to jump over to this one. Let me run through the pictures first before we say anything. Here, real quick, let me just run through this one, okay? Because I think these are kind of nice. So let me just, there's a name.
I wonder who took these.
So here's the thing about these photos. I think these are terrific. The woman that shot these was actually on my photo walk yesterday, and a very nice woman, obviously a very, very good photographer. All of these photos are taken with her iPhone.
And they're all edited on an iPad.
Right, they're edited on an iPad, so she's not using Photoshop or anything like that.
It's unbelievable.
It's insane, and that she's doing this kind of stuff. I had it on one other HDR that she did that I thought was brilliant. This is all on mobile devices. The entire thing is shot on mobile devices.
What app does that?
I don't know, but she's got it.
She uses 5 or 6 apps.
All right.
I like that.
We talked to her last night.
This is supposed to be a blind critique, but this was kind of a setup. So Terry Lou, are you in here? Where are you? Can you stand up for us, please? There you go. How about?
Yay!
Good job.
Bravo! Bellissimo!
And her whole portfolio is it's sick.
You see stuff like that shot with a mobile device, and you think that's a sign of the end times coming.
Yeah, I made her leave the walk. But so is it okay if they go to your blog, terryloublog.com? Is it TERILOU blog.com? Because you really need to see. She does so many different things. I asked her to let me borrow a few of them for the critique today, but. Go to TerryLou, TERILOU blog.com, and you'll see some stuff that'll just surprise and delight and amaze you. Okay.
Go through all 3 first.
Isn't it Matt's your job to start, right?
No, you're starting this one, Trey.
Oh, gosh.
Take it, Jeremy.
Well, I'll say some things, and I think Jeremy will probably have more meat because he's more of a portrait person. But I think that they're all, this is okay. It's sort of mall glamour shots, isn't it? It's all right. This one is, the middle one, that's my favorite one. It feels sort of photojournalistic and kids kind of hanging out playing, and the lighting is natural. You don't have to have fake lighting in this situation, and the background's interesting, and the girl's animated, and the other girl's playing, and it's a very nice slice of life. It's very nice. The others, these are just very boring and obvious. They're very kind of vacation Facebook snapshotty. It's nice in that milieu, right? Like, oh, I was, in this area, or maybe these are my friends or my relatives, and you kind of put it on Facebook and you tag them and think, oh, that's a nice shot. But it's not portfolio-ish.
The second one, like you said, is kind of photojournalistic-ish, and the whole part about it kind of tells a story. Where the third one, there's not enough environment, I don't think, in the third one to tell much of a story. It's 2 women standing in a door. It could be a door in San Francisco. It could be a door in across the world. But this one, like I said, I think this one just because of the environment that it's in tells a story.
And the first one, there was something strange done to the portraits. They're a little glowy or ethereal.
The lighting
something is weird.
The white balance is
knocking me off.
He's like warm on the left, and she kind of looks cool.
It's
anybody? Just the angle that I see it at.
It's called skin color.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, he seems to be warmer than she
Well,
does.
Yeah. It's a nice way to say it, Matt.
But you know what, though? It's actually
Yeah.
something, I think it's something beyond skin color because it's something's just funky looking. Now, it also, look at the lighting. You have light coming from the left, light coming from the right, and a very, very flat light coming up front. It doesn't have a lot of depth and dimension. It's just, this looks kind of like, and I hate to use the word Sears Portrait Studio, but Sears Portrait Studio.
yeah.
So it's, you know what I would recommend to this person, sell your gear. No, because I mean, they're not bad. This isn't like a bad photographer. This isn't, this is somebody that needs a couple of things. Number one is the lighting's really not bad, but I think it's maybe too much lighting for this shot. I think this could be a much better as maybe a dramatic shot with just one light. It looks maybe overlit. I think would be maybe a good way to describe it.
Yep.
Like his hand is like very bright, and it's just kind of a funky background, and so. But it's not a bad photographer. It's just I would recommend to this person to look at some portraiture of people that they really like and study what they're doing with the light and with the composition. I mean, it's a nice mother-son shot, but it's not much more than that. Here, this really isn't too bad either. But the story really is the two girls. It's really not all of this up here. And I would have preferred to see, now I'm just going to see, it might not be as good because you're really worried about the architecture here. But I think if you could crop it, and I'm just going to try and see if it works or not, I would almost rather see something more like that. But because you can see more of the story, and then I would bring maybe a little of the shadows out in there. And then if you darken the edges, because that's not really where you want people to look, it kind of takes a little of that off. Just a
I
little
like the big door because they look so small.
They do look small, but I want to see them. I want to know more about them. I don't
Yeah.
really care so much about the big door.
I
But
kind of agree with both of you. I mean, I like seeing them up close, but I do also love negative space, and I love the big door. My only critique would be, and it might mess up it might distort it too much, but I would love, can you pull up that one more time, the middle one? I would love to see all the lines straight. Like, I hate that there's that slight bend. I know that's how it just comes out of camera, but can you fix that, Scott? Yeah. Like, already, when he
do a couple
fixes,
of
if he
things here.
perfectly
Whoops.
straightened everything, I think it would be a much stronger image. But I like it. I like the big door and the story, showing the perspective of them versus the whole space. But that's my favorite image too, out of the three. I actually like the third image as well. I like it feels more than just a candid to me. It does feel like there's some story with those two women and the relationship between them. So I like the two. The first one just doesn't feel unique to me. I mean, that's my big thing is anybody can take a nice image these days, but it's really about very few people can take a unique image these days. And that first image it's nice, it's well lit, it's whatever, but it's not unique.
Yeah.
And these other two images start to tell a story, not only with the photos, but about who the photographer is. And so I definitely would lean towards shooting more of that stuff.
I like that. Naughty. I didn't realize it first. Then I'm like, that's a butt crack, buddy. I like this. It's very cool. It's a very neat effect. It's,
Is this a macro you took last night alone?
Yes, this is it's a nude self-portrait, of course. But I don't know. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. It's an interesting idea. It's almost like they're under the covers, but it's sand.
Can we see the others?
I like that. Yeah. It's very moody. A lot of atmosphere, a lot of mist and mood and moody, misty stuff.
That's
Kinda
very
like that.
cool. I
All
like
right.
that.
It's got some. It's got like look down there. It's got leading lines, like a leading lines example shot.
So this image and the first one show a very conceptual thinker, whereas the middle one shows just I shoot landscapes. And I even though this image is fine and nice and all, I don't want to see it because the other two are defining that voice and vision in the photographer. They're extremely conceptual and they're really interesting. And so these two already start to build a really strong portfolio and leave the other thing out. Start to stick with that conceptual thinking because that's obviously what you enjoy and it looks like it's what you're good at.
We saw that a lot today in I did the one-on-one portfolio reviews quite a bit, and you saw that a lot. You saw, people would have 20 or 30 photos, and there was so much of everything, And I don't know about you, but I gave that advice quite a bit. Is you do really good at the portraits, but your landscape work isn't quite as strong. So if you really like portraits and you're not really passionate about landscape, start forming your portrait portfolio. So we saw that quite a bit, though, and I think that's a good point.
Interrupt for a second. I just got a thing from Pete. So they don't have a quick link that you can find on the post. So go to the conference page. Just go to the G Plus PC Photographers Conference page, and you can leave comments there. You can leave them there now, and they'll pop up here on our screen. Okay, so I feel pretty much the same way. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's really, really cool. Naughty. And I like it. I like the atmosphere. But you're right. If you had to tell this photographer which way to go, it wouldn't be, you need to be a landscape photographer.
Yeah.
Right? Trey?
Yeah, I'll say something about these. I do like this landscape. I think it's kind of interesting. I often hear this thing that you should concentrate in one area or another. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think a lot of people just getting into photography, and that just getting into photography, that could be a 5 or 10 year span. I like people doing all kinds of things. We're doing wild experimentation and doing landscapes and surreal stuff and portraits and macro and play with everything. I don't think there's any pressure on you to specialize. Don't necessarily feel like that. It can be fine, but I want to see more. I'd like to see more of this. This is kind of interesting. But I like landscape, so this is kind of nice. The one with the pearls, I don't really like. I think it's weird. The way that they dither off into nothingness, and it's kind of sexy and deserty, and I don't know. It's just it's too like poor man's Dolly in a way, you know. It just feels...
Trey?
Yeah.
I'm not letting you come on this panel again if you do crack right before we go on stage.
Wait, he brought up a really interesting point that I wanted to address. I agree that y'all need to explore and try different things, but once you're at that place where you're ready to present yourself as a professional photographer, I am doing this, I do think there needs to be a certain level of specializing. When you look at every great photographer, Annie Leibovitz, Frank Ockenfels. He just can't resist, can he? But when you look at great photographers, they do specialize on something. And so I think when you're experimenting, it is important to try different things and learn different things. But when I look at a portfolio and I see babies and landscapes and architecture and flowers, I'm like, who the crap are you, you know? It's like I remember being in Africa and I saw a taxi cab service, funeral parlor service, hot dog stand, and laundromat all in one building. And I'm like, I'm not going to that place for any of those things. So experiment while you're learning. But once you're putting your name and your brand on your website and calling yourself a professional, don't do all these different things. I think it's okay to do a couple. Like I know some people shoot weddings and they shoot bands. But put those on 2 different sites because your brides will be impressed that you shoot bands. But your bands don't want to know that you shoot brides. You're not going to be cool anymore. So I do think it's important to what he's saying. Do explore, but once you're ready, figure out who you're going to be. I met a guy yesterday. He says, I capture men beautifully. And I was like, that's different, but I love that you're saying, I do this. And people remember you for that thing. I think that's really important.
That was well done. Hold on for a second here.
You need $1.
Oh, sweet.
That was good.
Thank you.
Gifts from Scott.
That was good. That was worth $10. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. Because this one's too naughty. All right. I've got a terrible headache.
She's really terrified of the camera.
I need Advil. I've got a double amputee. Wow, does this run the gambit of different looks?
Yeah, it does.
From here to there. I like this shot except for the double amputee part. I think if you're going to crop, that's the worst possible place to crop, right there. Yeah. Cropping at the ankles is like death. So
I agree.
It's just a bad crop, but I like the rest of the shot. Mm-hmm. I like the pose. I kind of like all the stuff in the background. I like the record. I know it's kind of an interesting shot, except for that crop is just a killer for that. This one I like. It's so different. I like him. I like him as a subject. The background, I could,
So can I jump in? Because I saw this, again, all I can draw on from today is the one-on-one portfolio reviews. But I had somebody submit an image. It was a hockey player, and they did a composite. And it was a hockey player with the ice skates on. And they put him in a subway tunnel. And so could you do it? Yeah, the composite looked right on. Everything looked right on about it. But it was a hockey player on ice skates in a subway tunnel.
Kind of like a trumpet player at the pier at the beach.
Yeah, so the background didn't fit. The background didn't fit what the person was, what the subject was. So that was and it happened a couple of times today. So.
And he's got a tux shirt on, so it's like he just came from the
like,
gig.
I picture him in a city, like on a city street or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't picture him under a pier.
I mean, I think it's okay to explore contrast in your content, but I do agree that this one seems a little trying too hard. I think the light is nice, the subject is nice, even the composition kind of works. But yeah, I still think people shouldn't shy away from exploring, weird contrast in terms of their foreground and backgrounds. But yeah, this one does seem a little random.
Got a couple of comments. Now we got the comments coming in, which is working. So Michael Kahn asks, how does one get photos submitted for the grid? So we usually do the grid show in the middle of the month, usually around the 17th or 18th, something like that. We give a day's notice. I always announce it on my G Plus page. I have people make their submissions on my G Plus page. So people will just go to my page, comment, and say, here's a link to my photos, or here's a link to my G Plus gallery, here's a link to my Facebook page, or wherever they have their images. They don't actually just upload them there, but there's always a link to them.
We're working on a page for it, too.
Yeah, we are working
for the grid.
We're doing that for the grid. But so we do it once a month. We do the blind critiques once a month. And it's very much like this, except for we don't have Jeremy and Trey, so it moves very quickly. No, I'm just kidding. This is gold, baby, gold. No. So anyway, I mean, this is a good photographer, and I'm not crazy about this shot. I mean, the whole thing, it's got the padded walls behind her, and she's got a bad headache. And let's not count that one. I like this one. Yep. And I like this one, but we have the amputee problem. But pretty good photographer, though. Yeah. I mean, I think maybe this. I got a feeling this photographer has other photos that we would really like.
The ankle thing is a good example of a tangent. Your eyes go down to those legs, and you wish you could see your feet. So.
And you say that poor
Hey,
girl.
Scott, can you go back to the previous person, please?
Oh, of course.
With the three. So this that one is not good. Go to the next one.
Don't sugarcoat it, Trey. How do you feel?
So this one, the subject is beautifully lit, but he doesn't have to be holding a trombone.
Especially since it's a trumpet.
Too literal, right? I mean, obviously he's a musician. He wants to use this as his headshot, but you don't have to force in the instrument. He's a person. He doesn't always have to be by that thing, and it's a little phallic, or there's something weird happening there. It's weird.
Well, he's a fisherman. He's a fisherman that plays trumpet.
So anyway, you don't have to jam it in there. All right, go to the next one. This one.
I don't want to hear where this is going.
This one is so literal, isn't it? It just feels like, there's circles and there's records, and she's a musician, and there's loud music, and she's rock and roll. I see something like it. Just is so.
Are you taking the Simon Cowell throne from Scott here?
No, it just feels just so banal and just there and evident and plain. And I think we're sitting here by Jeremy. If this girl had hired Jeremy to take this shot, we would see something amazing. We would see something really, really cool.
Yeah, and all our clothes would be off. No? Come on, that's your stick, right?
Totally. I actually think that image is pretty nice. I'm a fan of it. I agree with Scott. I don't like the ankles being cut off, but I mean the light's nice.
See, I like the ankles being cut off, Jeremy. That's what does it for.
All right, we're gonna move on. That person didn't submit enough. Here we go.
Is that cool. Light painting?
Looks like a light painting.
That's cool.
I hope.
I like it.
You
nice
like it?
Sky, mysterious. It's nice.
I'll never forget that yellow
don't get
night
you, Trey.
sky. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Keep going. Let's see. I like to see all three before I come back and critique.
That's my favorite. The second one is my second. That one's, it's okay. It's awfully busy. You know, there is something everywhere. And the sky is nice, and it's kind of got that fake vignetting over the sky, or maybe it's the HDR halo that's bothering me.
You gotta do
the
something about
HDR
the
halo
halos.
is bothering me big time. It's
Yeah,
lots of halos
it's a little,
and stuff.
maybe it's a tiny
Look at
bit
the
much.
look at the halos over here.
Yeah.
You know what's really the most distracting thing here? Hamburgers.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too, and that just made it worse.
But
All
I
right.
kind of like the rest of it. It's not
I
bad.
like the building. I'm not sure I like this rendition of it. I think that there's a good shot to be made here if they worked it a bit. But yeah, and this one,
That one's my least favorite.
yeah, you know what it is? It's what that what you said, Trey, earlier about the guy's shot. It's just boring. That's a fountain
It's a fountain
Yeah.
at
at
night.
night.
So this middle one, here's some advice, because this is a common HDR problem, is when you HDR a lot red, you end up getting this sort of washed out, cheap Chinese restaurant red color, you know. And it doesn't quite pop. It's orangey, it's dirty, there's something, because I bet this is actually a nice, vibrant, popping red. And something has happened with the red through the multiple layers and the tone mapping, where it's fallen away into a dirty orange that's neither here nor there. So the way you can fix that red is
Oh,
by...
it looks a lot different up there, Trey.
Yeah, it does.
That's not what we're seeing here.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
seeing a very almost like the color of an orange for
Yeah,
that pump. And I look
okay,
back
it's
there,
a
I'm
little
like,
better.
Yeah,
But if you do
that's
want
much better
to,
up
if you want to
there.
clean up that red, I think it's probably still a little bit off there. You could take one of the raws and fix it up with clarity and everything inside Lightroom, and then mask it back into the original photo.
Yeah.
We don't use
All
Lightroom,
right,
Trey.
we're gonna whip through a few more of these so we get to see some more of these. Now we're doing this again tomorrow, and if you have not submitted, we had kind of a cutoff for people to submit, but I've had people today that stopped me and said, I had no idea you had blind critiques. I didn't know. If you want to go to my G Plus page, and there, I think I put up a quote up, a little post up earlier today about us being sold out. You can just put a comment there. You can just put a little comment, say, hey, Scott, I got some pictures here. We'll take a look at them, and we'll see if there's any that we think are appropriate to be added for tomorrow. So if you didn't get the chance, you can go and let us take a look at it, and we'll see if we can get them in for tomorrow. Did we look at number 8? Yes? Yeah,
Yep.
we did. Look at number 9.
Oh,
God, I hate pictures of spiders.
Nobody likes pictures
Nobody
of
looks
spiders
like
'cause
showing.
nobody likes
Dude, that's
spiders.
awful. Get that off the screen. Seriously,
It gives
what the
everybody
hell?
the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, that's just. All right, we're only gonna judge these two.
Who likes spiders out there? Anybody?
Maybe like I can't.
3 people.
Oh, there's like
10.
6 people, but
Yeah.
you need to be in therapy.
But you lied, too. You don't really like spiders. I know you don't.
All right, this one's not bad. It needs, the sky is completely blown out back here. It's kind of lacking detail. I like the composition and stuff. I'm not crazy about this being in the center. And there's something there.
In good light, that might have been
Yeah.
a nice photo.
This is a guy at the beach, and if you walked up right behind him and put up your camera, this is exactly the shot that you would get. It's not particularly interesting. You could shoot this. You could shoot this with your phone camera. Yeah.
I still can't figure out if this guy really is an amputee or not. I mean, it looks like his leg has gone missing.
Oh yeah.
It's just shark attack.
All right, we're gonna move on really quick. That's disgusting. All right, here we go. All right, I'm waiting for you. I know
Well,
what you.
Jeremy took this picture, actually, the one that's on the window,
Let's take her out of it because she's distracting.
because it's Jeremy's photo.
Or that's the statement they're trying to make. I kind of like it outside of that. It's like stuck on a window of some sort. It's kind of interesting, except for the obvious thing, which is the tower over here. No, just kidding.
This guy's
This
kind of
person drank a
interesting.
lot in Vegas.
This is Weekend in Vegas,
That was
part
good.
2.
That was good. This goes
See,
back.
I got it. He was on the bus drinking. Go to the next photo. He fell over. His camera accidentally took a photo as he fell. And then he got back on the bus to go back home.
And he's just kind of tracing the window with his sweaty hand. I'm having a hangover. All right.
This goes back to that whole like 2 images in your portfolio from the same you don't need that third image. It does nothing. You've already explored the first concept, and it actually is a little bit of an interesting story. It's much better than just the scene, the buildings, but throwing a little bit of story in there definitely makes you ask questions. I always like
but believe
photos that makes me ask questions.
Like I always think, is her name really Holly?
It's Lexus.
Her name is Lexus? Where did you get that?
Named after cars, aren't? Anyway, we digress.
Yeah. I'll never forget that night with Lincoln Mercury.
I was just gonna say that actually I did like the first photo. I thought it kind of had a neat,
Yeah, I kind of
Holly
like it too.
aside.
That
I
one
thought it was
liked.
kind of cool.
Yeah. All right. Here's one. Here's 2.
Maxima.
Here's 3. Now, these look like they're taken within feet of each other.
What kind of car is
The
that?
first one is good. I mean, it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
That one is just,
Is that a spider web in the?
Don't freak me out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing exciting.
Snapshot. I
Yeah.
mean, you could
Yeah.
take your phone and.
They're not bad. If they weren't black and white, I think they actually would be bad. They're just kind of, they fall into Trey's boring shot category.
Boring.
That could, with different processing, that could actually be.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, look at all this other stuff over here. This isn't helping anything. It's naughty looking by itself. Over here, it's yeah. Okay, we're gonna move on. It's not terrible, but it's not like wow. It's kind of boring. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Could use a levels adjustment.
Yep.
Looks like a restoration.
Oh.
Restoration with a glow around
This
it.
is a perfect example of just a confused photographer, And I say that semi-joking, but I'm actually very serious. It's like, okay, who do you want to be? These 3 images make no sense together whatsoever. Not only in the content, but also in the post-processing. Like y'all have to figure out. You have to figure out who you are and who you want to be.
Hey,
and this is
can I follow up
extremely
on that?
confusing. Yeah.
Where was that guy? This looks like they were all shot by the same photographer. This has a theme and a feel to it, but they're completely different shots. She's in a boat over here. He's looking up at the sky in someone's backyard. This guy's playing basketball, but they're all tied together with a common theme. And I think that's what you're talking about, where you have to decide who you want to be. And some of these people, they just haven't really decided yet. That doesn't make them a bad photographer or anything. It's just like, I'm trying a little bit of everything. Here's another one.
That's good.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yep.
Kind of like that, though. I call it Lone Tree in the Sun. It's not bad. None of these are bad.
So the first one's a good background.
This is easy.
It's
This
a
would be
good
great
environment that
photo.
needs a subject
Composite
in it.
somebody in there. Or just anybody even walking around. You have a guard checking the thing. Anything would have helped that. You're right. It looks like a compositing image background when it needs a foreground element. This is just a pretty shot.
The top corners
This would
are
make
bad.
a really up here.
Just vignetting.
Yeah, this-
Vignetting. Okay, so to get rid of that,
Tangents.
you go to you probably go to lens corrections and just drag the lens vignetting to the right a little bit.
No.
And it's up in the corners. Hold on, I got to fix it. Give me a second, bro. I just learned
That's
this
not gonna
program.
work.
I'm not that quick at it. Now, if it's this nasty, it's a little better, but it's too bright. It's too much. So my angle is kind of weird. Oh, that's better.
I wonder if the auto checkbox would have helped.
That's what I was going to say. If this doesn't work, then reset it back to 0, and then go to I just clicked off on it. The profile and see what it does. The profile does nothing. So how about if we adjust the vignetting here? Nah, stinko. You're going to have to clone that out the hard way, the old-fashioned way like we used to do it back in the 90s. Okay. So not bad. We only have time for a couple more, so let's just see what we can get, because we might be able to go back to a couple. All through, we'll go through all 3.
Once again, are y'all seeing the difference in post-production? It just kind of seems very random. This photographer hasn't figured out who they are yet.
That's not having a horizon in there. It kind of makes me dizzy. It's like I don't know.
This is kind of the most interesting one. There was some thought put into that little nice zoom effect, but
geez.
it's
Lasers.
I like photos that are a little confusing and have some mystery, because as you figure them out, you get to know them a little bit. And this has an element of that, but like the top whole 25% on the upper right is very boring. I don't mind white. This is
Out of focus.
It's a
HDR'd
door
up
with
or
a gate
something.
over it.
It
Now,
feels
let's see if it's really out of focus, because the bridge
out
never
of focus.
really tells you.
HDR
No, look,
doesn't work.
Oh, see, I don't think in focus it's a great shot either.
it gets worse when you blow it up.
Did you just say something had too much HDR? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah.
No, he said, and he's right. Like one of the things that looks the worst in HDR is a shallow depth of field background. It looks very HDR. It's got there's certain things about HDR that look wonderful, and there's certain ones that like sometimes cement can look really, really dirty. Sometimes wood can look really obviously HDR'd, and that's when, like Trey was saying earlier, is take the original exposure, put it on top, and mask it. And so I think when you have a great HDR is when you look at it and go, is that HDR? But if you go, that's HDR. Like we saw a shot from a minute ago that was up here, and it screamed like HDR.
Yeah.
And then the technique is more than the photo. A couple more here. That's very nicely done.
Yeah.
Thanks for the watermark. That's just nicely done. It's a very nice shot. And the retouching's kind of heavy-handed, though. So the skin, there's not like any pores there. It's just a little too soft. I like the overall shot a lot. I like the composition. I like the subject. That's just too soft. I mean, look at that nose.
It's way too soft. She looks like a bottle of lotion.
Yes.
I wish there was a book that showed how to.
Yeah. I think
She
it'd be
looks like a bottle of
that
lotion.
Comes, it's squirt lotion out of her nose. Yeah, I think it's a good photo, though. Just a little.
It is, but
a little smooth.
Yeah, a little too much on the.
That's good.
That's nice.
Yep.
It's off center.
Oh,
Ooh, bright eyes.
hang on. Yeah. So here's the
Oh,
thing.
God.
I always.
Dude, quick.
I know.
Quick.
I'll do it first. I always talk about in my retouching classes that one of the first mistakes people make when they first start retouching is they brighten the eyes and they leave them too bright. As I said in every class, I just got off a 24-city tour, said that exact same sentence, and this is too bright. But there's other issues. So first, there's not much we can do. There's not much we can do. To darken. I mean, you could darken those eyes now, I guess, with the adjustment brush, but it's going to create just havoc. This is one of those things where now she's got a black eye. It's not going to be good. But here's what I would do. I would do this for sure. If you go into Photoshop and you go into Liquify, there is a tool in here called Pucker, and it makes things smaller. And I would go over that eye and kick it back a little bit. Not quite that much, perhaps, but just a couple. Oh, poor girl.
No, it's great, dude. It's
Poor girl. But I mean, I just gave her a couple of clicks. It's a 5-second retouch, but look, woo. Look how big they were. That's before, after, woo. You're going to do what I say. All right, so that is both a retouching. Look at the skin. That's a retouching problem. So photography, it gets an A. Retouching gets like a D. So that's what I would really focus on is because I mean it's all well composed. It's good things. Mm-hmm. It's light. It's nice backlit, a little bit of fill light, but ophthalmologist would hurt there.
I think the thing that I'm seeing, I feel like with all these images today, well, most of them, almost all of them, and everything I see consistently with portfolios and consistently these portfolio reviews, is I see that you guys are learning lighting, you're learning retouching, you're learning how to take nice pictures. But the problem is everybody's learning. There are thousands and thousands of photographers. There are 8-year-olds taking amazing photos. But you guys have to figure out your voice. You have to figure out what makes me unique, what is going to make people look at my website, talk about my images, and that's just not what I'm seeing in portfolios, and that's what I so long to see. We're a culture where we look on the internet all day, we try to find something new, something interesting, and few of us are actually trying to create those things. So I really think y'all need to start figuring out what that voice and vision is, both in your work and in your retouching and your post-production.
We're going to look at these 3 real quick. Like that.
So, wrong time of day.
Terribly wrong time of day. And you know what? All these sticks and stuff are really distracting. When you see a good shot of a waterfall or a creek like this, it's always very clean. This it's messy.
Yeah, and to take all that out, it's shot in a way wrong time of day. But.
Yeah, it was hurting. You know what? If they waited 3 hours, same shot, all they'd have to do is go clean up the sticks. But in this case, it's. Hey, what's that over there?
I like
okay,
that image.
I like this image.
Yes.
Yeah.
That actually goes with that one we looked at a few
Right,
folders
right,
back.
right,
That
yeah.
Really cool architecture.
Didn't wait long enough. It's not terrible light, but it's a boring shot.
Yeah, maybe if you cut off the bottom 40%, might be a little better.
Yeah.
And like Jeremy was saying earlier, that tree is really crowding the edge.
Oops.
And once again, it just
It's a
doesn't,
great cropping ratio.
it just doesn't belong with the image before. You know what I mean? Like those images don't really go together. We've repeated that topic. That's nice.
Better as a pano. Okay, and the overall thing just looks a little too bright.
The greens
Well, I don't know
are
what
too
your screen
yellow.
looks like. Oh, that screen looks different. Sorry. The greens are too yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times people think that when you see it like this, that it's too green. But if you go drop down the green saturation, you hardly see any change. But if you drop down the yellow saturation, you'll see a huge change.
Last one. Kind of cute.
We got to look over here because they killed our screen.
Yeah. That's nice,
That's
making
good.
out in church.
I was just going to say, is he kissing her in church?
Yeah, it's mouth to mouth. I love that. Love that shot.
That's good.
Okay,
is.
so
I like that one a lot.
it runs. That's interesting, even though it's so wrong.
I don't think, I don't know.
That's cute, and
good. That's good too.
it's kind of underlit though. And you would use underlighting to make an athlete look real big and kind of mean, but it's not flattering lighting, and he's a cute kid. But not bad overall. Kind of like the color treatments and everything. Okay.
I like that the other two tell the story, and this one is more of a portrait, and I'd rather see everything tell a story.
Yeah,
like
I
the
agree,
first-
because it's my least favorite. It's not badly taken, but, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so we have to wrap up. I do want to say this. If you're going on the live shoot and you've signed up for the bus is going to leave. There's 2 buses. They're going to leave right out there. If you go outside the building and go just past where we're doing the Westcott live shooting over there, buses are going to leave there. We're going to ride with you. Matt and I are going to ride. There's 4 photographers or instructors out there shooting with us. So we're shooting a car, motorcycle, 2 live models, 1 dead model.
Yep.
And so we will see you guys out there in just a few minutes. Trey, thank you very much, sir. Jeremy,
Thank you.
Matt, thank you guys.